Welcome to the home of the DIY movement, where we build stuff and paint things.
All right, y'all, it's Way Back Wednesday again, man. Getting a lot of good feedback on these throwback videos, man. So we're going to keep it going in chronological order. Last video was of the Lincoln, the candy red Lincoln, which I sold to a guy up north in Minnesota. So once that was gone, I had a little money in my pocket, and I wanted to get back into the Impala game. So, man, I made a phone call to Walt from Street Toys in Mississippi, and told him what I was looking for, and he referred me to a guy in Indianapolis named Matt, and told me he was looking to sell the 64 right here, right? So, man, I think I gave Matt 18 grand for the car or something like that, without the rims, or it might have had some 14s on it or something at the time, some Chinas, or I really don't remember the details about the wheels, but man, 18 grand for the 64 convertible, run driving, you know, painted, and I had a little money from the Lincoln. So I, man, me and my buddy at the time, we drove to Indiana. I'm not sure what town, but Indianapolis area, if I remember right, and went to go see this 64 right here, man. So, man, the car was pretty much as pictured, minus the wheels. White top, white interior, you know, paint, some graphics. Had a really competitive stereo system. Matt owns an audio source up there. So, man, it had a lot of stereo equipment. So we bought it, man. I bought the car. We did a turnaround trip, which was probably like 34 hours or something, non-stop. We didn't stop at all. We stopped for gas, but you know, no overnight hotel, man. We did the thing round trip. Brought it home just in time for the Houston Lowrider magazine show of 2007. I didn't have enough time to really add my touches to it, so I put it, you know, in the show pretty much like that. I did have time to get the 13s for it. Those were Daytons. I think I got them off of eBay at the time. That's me three-wheeling into the show. Houston show, 2007. That was the last year Lowrider magazine came to Houston, I believe. Almost 20 years ago. Man, the car had a killer three-wheel. Had 4 pumps in it. Superfly pumps. I doubt they're in business anymore. But yeah, that's me right there. Driving into the show. Figured I'd cock it up on everybody. That was fun. It's crazy, man, because back then, you know, well, in the 90s, man, late 90s, used to get a lot of Lowrider magazine. Mailed a couple pictures of my cars, or, you know, car at the time or whatever, to try and get in the little, hey, man, what's up with that dude in the top right corner there with no shirt on, man? Anyways, man, I would send them pictures, you know, just to try and get in the little readers rides, you know, section in the back of the magazine. Never got in the magazine, but I buy a car and I don't do anything to it other than put wheels on it, and I got a picture in Lowrider magazine from that show. So that's the car right there. Got an end cap space. I mean, the car was nice. It was well put together. It was a good car, ran great. I did want to make some, you know, some adjustments to it or whatever, tweak some things to my liking, kind of make the car mine. But I think it's just ironic that out of all the cars, you know, the one that I bought, it comes out in Lowrider magazine. You know, touching back on that topic, man, it kind of makes you wonder, man, is that what Lowrider magazine used to be about? You know, like, I don't know, you know, did they I mean, I know they had a lot of guys that built cars in there, but how many of the guys that came out on centerfolds actually built their cars? Interesting topic. You know, I remember back then on Lay It Low, man, that car and the one of the topics, man, it brought a lot of had a good back and forth versus about you know, built not bought, because I bought this car, obviously, But by the time I was done with it, I had, man, repainted it, redid the interior, redid the top, redid the wheels, redid the hydraulics, you know. And some guys, I remember back then, you know, I mean, it was all joking back and forth, but they were saying, man, that car was bought, you didn't build that. And I'm like, well, what constitutes building a car? Like, should you just buy a car that's a complete rust bucket and go from there? Does that make it built? You know, like, you know, that I think that built not bought topic or discussion, you know, will never really be finalized, because you know, there's so many variables, man. And on top of that, man, who really cares? You know what I mean? I'm a built guy, but hey, man, some guys have more money than time, and man, that's a good problem to have if you ask me. So the first order of business on the car was to change out the hydraulics. I sold the 4 pumps. I believe they ended up in the 68, the yellow 68 that we built on the channel. And I sold all the stereo equipment to Spanky in Tulsa. So I had some money to play with, you know. So I hit up Pitbull, and these are Pitbull pumps. And man, I like Pitbull because I don't know what he's doing these days, but back then, like, polished was like a standard. The blocks are polished, the backing plates are polished, you know, everything was polished or chromed. It seemed like it kind of like Hilo does, you know. Hilo, most of their stuff comes polished. So man, that was 3 8Xs and Pitbull pumps. So that was the first order of business on the car for me to kind of start to make it my own. Yeah, man, so this was when I lived in that house with that 1-car garage or 1.5-car garage. And I did some of my own work, man, but not to the extent that I do now on the channel. But, you know, swapping out pumps and rewiring, you know, that was easy. I didn't do anything involving paint at the time. So I took the batteries, I think the solenoids, and I made that back wall there. And I took it to Cato, Sick 6713 in Houston, who's now, you know, I mean, he's a custom painter, does graphics and stuff. Nice stuff, by the way. And you know, had him paint the stuff for me. Like I say, back then I didn't know the first thing about anything paint and body. So I took it to him. He did it on the cheap, and you know, threw the pumps in. That's on some 1/4-inch steel plate that I had chrome plated, you know, to try and mimic the pump shelves that you see today. You know, just something to put together, man. Just another angle of the setup here. And man, you know, in conversation a couple weeks ago, he was talking about the steel braided returns, and I had said I've never had them. And I mean, obviously right there, they're on the setup. I don't even remember having them because it wasn't that long. So I guess I have had steel braided returns for, it's kind of a running joke on Instagram with a couple of guys. But yeah, boom, steel braided returns, 4 batteries stuffed in there. They barely fit, but they fit. So, you know, kind of still a street setup. Not show. I wouldn't call that a show setup. Man, so after I got the pumps working, took the car to Shorty's for the narrowed rear end treatment. He had did the silver 64. You guys follow the series here, the convertible. He did that one. I took this one over there to him, had him narrow the rear end, and so I could run the skirts. And I know his son John, he made the wishbone, custom wishbone back then. And looking at the car right here, I see the pinstripes. I remember those pinstripes were done by Angelo. And he came to Houston one time and had some cars lined up to do. So you know, and I wanted him to do the car, you know, so he put the pinstripes on. I believe Angelo passed away. But man, real straight lines, real subtle. I didn't want nothing too crazy. He did a really good job, man. He's a real damn good pinstriper. Yeah, I believe at this point too, I had the graphics covered up. Might be a little out of order, but I did have the graphics on the side covered up. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure the dates on the pictures are actual accurate dates. So, you know, man, got the car, redid the setup, narrowed the rear end, put 13s on it, got skirts. We're moving right along, man, changing the look of the car, covered up the graphics, added pinstripe. So moving right along on it. And so after that, the next thing was, the car had white interior, which was really nice, but I'm not a fan of white interior. So I wanted to change it up. Took it to a guy in San Antonio, and he redid the seat covers and door panels and stuff in that blue, which was a really nice contrast color for match the paint. Those seat inserts are 64, inserts or whatever. So man, did a good job, but man, it really changed the look of the car, to go from white with a white top to blue. Totally changed the look of the car, man. Another shot of the interior here, man. Looking at the car now. Man, the car had factory tilt steering, which is a big deal these days. But man, clean, man. New carpet. Did the side speaker panels down there, kick panels. One thing I remember about this car is the switches. That was my first introduction to probably Chinese switches, because man, I remember I was driving the car and I went to hit the front up, tap it just a little bit, and man, the switch stuck. The switch stayed up, and not used to that because they're momentary toggle switches. So usually you just tap it and it comes back down to neutral, and it didn't, and it stuck. So that was my first. I'm like, man, these switches got to go, man. Go with Carling, and ever since then it's Carling every time. But man, the interior looked nice, man. To go, from white to this, I think it was an upgrade. Here's another picture of the car outside. Those are hard top vent windows, man. So, now if you were to buy a car that has hard top vent windows, you'd be like, well, man, is this a conversion or what? But no, this car wasn't a conversion. For some reason, it had hard top vent windows. And I remember there was some controversy about the convertible top not being able to latch if you have hard top vent windows, and that's false, because that top latched just fine. So you can see on the vent window it comes to a point where the convertibles would be flat on top. But man, digging the interior, looking good with the pinstripe, moving right along. Here's another shot of the car. I took it to a little high school that I used to live by, and he did the top boot too, man. So really changed the look of the car, man, with the top boot to match the skirts, the 13s. So that goes back to the topic, was was this car bought or was this car built? Because he changed everything. But man, the car ran really good, man. It had 350. I think it had a turbo 350, transmission. But man, highway ready, no issues, man. It was a really good car. And the last thing that I did to it was I changed the convertible top also. So yeah, man, I ordered the top from website ARO 2000, which is where I order all my convertible tops from. And that's actually a factory blue 64 blue top. Took it over to Pasadena and had them install it. Man, did a hell of a job, man. Top looked great, nice and tight, and nice little contrast from the white top. So man, new top, new interior, wheels, paint, hydraulics, skirts. In my opinion, is a totally different car. Yeah, man. So here it is, top down, no boot. It's a really good car, man. I didn't own it very long. We're probably talking about a year and a half. And I guess you could say I got tired of it. I don't know. It was a really good car. So I didn't sell it for any bad reason or anything. I sold it to a friend of mine. He was looking to get into something that didn't need anything, any work done local. So I told him, I said, man, you know what? I'll sell it to you. You give me exactly what I got in it, and you can have it. So that's what he did. He gave me exactly what I had. And I think after he got it, he changed the wheels out, put some color dish wheels on it, matching dish. And that was a big thing around that time. 07, 08, 09, color dish. Still is a big thing. But that's kind of where I think, if I remember right, it kind of turned into a thing and got big. I remember the bodywork on the trunk, man, was perfect, man. That thing had a mirror finish on the trunk and a real hard clear. Like nothing would, scratch it. It was a really good paint job on it, man. So, what I did basically was, downgraded the setup, I guess you can say, from 4-pump to 2-pump, and just kind of made it more of a lay and play type deal. And put the 13 Daytons on it. And man, had it for about 1.5 years and sold it, got all my money back, recycled the money and jumped into the next one, man. So it was a good car. It's the last shot of the car right here, man. Top down, boot on, quarter windows up, back in on the ground. I love that look on a 64, or really any convertible. To me, that's the look right there. Man, so what a journey, but that's another car under the belt. And let me know what you guys think in the comments, man, about the whole built not bought thing. I know that's a never-ending debate, but I mean, if you buy a car and you change the wheels, change the setup, change the interior, change the top, cover the graphics, add pinstripe, add skirts, did you build that car, or is that still Matt's old car? Let me know what you guys think, man, and we're gonna keep it moving. Hope you guys enjoyed this way back Wednesday. Gonna keep it moving. I believe the next one in chronological order would be Cadillac Fleetwood Coupe 90'd out, man. So y'all stay tuned for that one, and y'all stay tuned for what else is going on the channel as well, man. Man, about to cut the Cadillac here. We got Bobby's car in the frame, man. So we're still doing the same old thing, man. 20 years later, man. Hope you guys enjoyed this, man. Y'all stay tuned for more work. Thanks for watching.